In the quiet stillness of a desert night, where the sky glows with 1,000 cold stars, a lone traveler named Arman stepped into the vast sea of sand with nothing but a half-filled canteen, a torn map, and the weight of choices that had led him far from home. The desert was not a place he had planned to be, but fate, silent and unpredictable, had other paths drawn for him. His jeep had broken down miles behind him, swallowed by a rolling storm of dust. Now only the whisper of wind accompanied him as he walked deeper into a landscape where time itself seemed to sleep. The sand under his feet cooled quickly after sunset, releasing the heat it had stored through the long day. Armin took one deep breath of the chilled air and began moving again. Each step echoed with a soft crunch, as if the desert were carefully listening to him. He looked ahead and saw dunes stretching endlessly, rising like golden waves frozen in time. He kept walking because stopping meant surrender, and surrender was the one thing he had promised himself never to do. Hours passed. The moon climbed higher, bathing the dunes in silver light. When fatigue finally crept through his limbs, Armin noticed a cluster of rocks standing like ancient guardians. He took shelter behind them, feeling a small comfort from the wind's bite. He knew he needed rest, but he also knew that the desert belonged to creatures that woke after dusk. He listened to every sound, the distant cry of a fox, the rustle of shifting sand, the quiet hum of insects hidden beneath the surface. Somehow these sounds did not frighten him. Instead, they lulled him into a strange sense of calm. Morning arrived with a harsh glow. The sun rose like a burning coin, painting the desert in shades of gold and fire. Armin's throat tightened with thirst, and he rationed a single sip of water. The heat wrapped around him instantly, heavy and suffocating. But he kept moving, following the faint markings on his old map. Somewhere to the east was a small, abandoned outpost, perhaps a well, perhaps just ruins. Yet in this moment, even the possibility of hope felt like enough. As the day grew hotter, mirages shimmered on the horizon, dancing like pools of silver water. Armin knew better than to trust them, but even then he caught himself staring, imagining the coolness of an oasis. His steps grew slower, his breath shorter. A wave of dizziness washed over him, and he dropped to one knee. But as the hot air blurred his vision, he saw something real: shadows, movement, and a faint line of palm trees. His heart pounded. Could it be an actual oasis? With renewed determination, he pushed forward. The world swayed around him, but he did not stop. When he finally reached the trees, he collapsed beside a pool of clear, shimmering water. The taste felt like life returning to him. He washed his face, cooled his arms, and allowed himself a long moment of silence. Above him, the leaves rustled gently as if applauding his will to survive. He stayed at the oasis until sunset, filling his canteen, gathering strength. But Armin knew he could not remain there forever. The desert, beautiful yet unforgiving, demanded respect. When night fell again, he continued his journey, guided by the stars. The desert sky stretched endlessly, a sweeping cathedral of light. He walked beneath it with a strange peace settling in his heart. He no longer fought the desert, he simply moved with it. Days passed. Armin followed old trails, navigated rocky plateaus, and learned to read the wind as if it were an ancient language. He found edible roots near dry riverbeds, trapped small lizards for food, and sheltered inside narrow canyons when sandstorms rose like raging beasts across the land. On the seventh night, after enduring blistering heat and chilling winds, Armin noticed a distant glow on the horizon. He stopped, staring at the soft orange flicker. Firelight, human presence, civilization, hope. His steps quickened, and as he approached, he saw a group of nomads gathered around a fire. Their faces turned toward him, surprised yet kind. They offered him water, bread, and a place to rest. For the first time in days, Armin felt safe. The nomads listened to his story, nodding with understanding. They knew the desert's ways, every hardship, every miracle. They guided him at dawn, leading him toward a trading route that would eventually carry him back to the world he had been separated from. When Armin finally saw the first paved road cutting across the desert, he paused, taking a long breath. He had entered the desert as a man lost, uncertain, and unprepared. But he left it transformed, calmer, stronger, and deeply aware of life's quiet lessons. In the silence of the desert, he had discovered not only survival, but himself. And as he walked toward the approaching rescue truck, he looked back over the dunes one last time. The sands glowed softly under the rising sun, as if acknowledging his journey. Arman smiled, grateful for every step, every challenge, and every moment that had shaped his return. The desert had tested him, but it had also taught him how to live again.